Hi everyone, it's Natalie again, and today I'll be coloring this picture of an eye for you. I drew this eye earlier today, and I'll be using these Prismacolor colored pencils to color it. The package of Prismacolor pencils looks like this. In case you're interested, you can get them on Amazon or craft stores such as Hobby Lobby, Michael's, any place like that. Okay, so to start on the eye, I wanted to start with this part of the eye, and I will be starting with a white colored pencil, and afterwards I'll be shading it in with some grays, some blacks, and even a slight touch of red. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. To Angelique, how long have you been making art? I've been making art since middle school about. That's whenever I really got into drawing and coloring. To Emma, what eye color am I doing? I will be coloring a bluish green color. To Colleen, yes, the paper is a gray color. This is toned gray paper. I somewhat prefer this paper over plain white paper sometimes because of the fact that this paper really makes colors pop, especially if you're using colors such as white. And if you're drawing like natural skin tones and things like that, it really tends to blend in naturally with the skin, and it makes it look really good. To Jonathan, I don't know if I'll be drawing an eyebrow on this, but if I do, I think it will mostly be a neutral pose, not necessarily happy. It's kind of hard to tell from just an eyebrow. Yes, these are Prismacolor pencils. You can get them on Amazon, you can get them at craft stores, any place like that. To Courtney, where would I find white gel pens? Right now I'm using a white colored pencil, but gel pens you can get at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Amazon. I haven't purchased them at Michael's before, but I have at Hobby Lobby. There's a couple of brands. There's the Sakura brand white colored pencils. I think they're called Jelly Rolls. It's been a while since I purchased them because I typically use acrylic paint, but that's a good brand. I would recommend that. Okay, so after adding the base white coat, I'll be coming in with a gray color. On the video it may look like it has a blue hue to it, but that's just on the camera. I mean, this is a cool gray color, but the actual color is a lot less blue than it may appear on the video. I've noticed that in the previous video that I drew of a cat, the gray looked sort of blue on the video. That's just a error between the video and the actual piece. To Leah, my favorite thing to draw would be humans, like the human face especially. To Savannah, how long does it take to draw this? It probably took me under 10 minutes to draw the eye itself, but coloring can take a long time. To BB, I'm using Strathmore toned gray paper. I bought this kind in a spiral. Yes, I do have an Instagram account for all of you in the comments. You can find the link in the description of the video. I do post a lot of my finished artwork on there, and you can also see some other work in progresses I have. You should check it out. To Kia, I do not know whose eye this is. I just found it on Google Images and I saved it to my computer. I think it's one of the first results if you were to search, like, just eye, just something typical like that. To Angelique, tips for people who want to practice drawing human faces. I would recommend buying yourself a sketchbook where you can record your progress and keep all your drawings in one place. And I would dedicate different pages to different features of the face and practice drawing the same feature over and over again. Like, for example, take a page just to draw eyes, a page to draw noses, and look up references or just like look up pictures of human faces and just pick one feature from it and draw that. Like, for example, just draw noses or eyes and find them in different angles. Like, you don't want to just draw noses facing forward on them. You want to draw them from the side, from a 3/4 angle, things like that. I know that drawing human features can be really difficult sometimes, but in the end, it really is just a matter of practice. To Katie, did I take classes? I have taken some art classes at school in my life, but they were mostly just blocks that I can make art and get advice or use resources if I needed. They weren't so much instruction based. I guess just like a typical high school art class, middle school, things like that. The color of the eye will be a bluish green color. So Prismacolor pencils, someone in the comments asked for me to explain what makes Prismacolor pencils much better than others. If you take Prismacolor pencils and you compare them to your just average colored pencils, like say the Crayola ones, or even ones that are labeled art pencils but don't really have an official brand at the store, these colored pencils are really nice because of the fact that they blend so well with each other, and I think that's the key feature of Prismacolor, is that it blends seamlessly with another color just by applying another layer of the color. Like, for example, I'm applying some black right now on the white part of the eye, and while it may look kind of like that typical colored pencil texture that you get, once I go over it with the gray again, it blends it in and it looks like one solid color. So yeah, I highly recommend these pencils for anyone who's looking to purchase some quality art pencils. You can get them on Amazon, get them at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, any place like that. Okay, and since the human eye, it isn't just white, there are tints of red in it due to the blood that's in our bodies. It's kind of inevitable, but I'm going to be adding a little bit of that red color into the eye because it's next to the eyelid, which has some red in it, and it reflects some of that red color onto the eye. And I'm going over it with the gray again to blend it all in. To Kia, do I use blending tools at all? Right now the only blending tool that I'm using are the colored pencils themselves. I know that Prismacolor makes a Colorless Blender pencil. I haven't tried that yet. however. I'd like to though. If you guys have tried the Colorless Blender for Prismacolor, tell me how it is. I'm curious. I don't use the tortillions either, which are those paper rolls that people use with pencils. I don't know if they work well with colored pencils, but no, I really don't use blenders much. Red down here, blend that in. And sometimes whenever coloring with these, you can't just go in one direction to blend it in. Sometimes you have to take circular motions with your hands, or just do left to right, up and down, things like that. I found that circular motions tend to be the most effective to create the smoothest image. However, up and down can be great if you're trying to aim for a certain texture. Honestly, eyes are just a lot of fun to draw because, especially the pupil of the eye and the iris, all that, you can really make some fun textures with the color, especially with all the detail that's in the center of the eye. There's a lot to color, and it's really fun. And even just coloring this part of the eye, I find to be a lot of fun. I think a part of it has to do with the fact that eyes are just so essential to portraits, and it's typically something that we point out right away or we draw all of our attention to. So whenever we see drawings of realistic eyes, or we watch one come alive right before our very hands, it's such an exciting feeling. Okay, now I'm going to move on to the center. Here, let me erase some of the pencil first. I keep the pencil marks while I'm coloring just to guide me on where I need to put certain things, or like where a boundary between two colors is, but right before I color it, I tend to erase it. Okay, I'm going to start with the pupil because this will be black. I'm using my black colored pencil, which is very short and sad, but it's lived a long life. I'll have to get a new one sometimes. I think black is the colored pencil that I use the most because I don't just use it for my colored pencil drawings, I use it for mixed media drawings, where I'll apply it over marker, and it's usually always the black because the black lets me shade in so much darker than I would with markers. So the black does get a lot of use. Okay, that. And now I'm going to take this dark blue color and I'm going to draw this outer circle. And I'm going to do it very lightly because I want to somewhat blend it with the other part of the eye instead of just making it one solid and sharp outline. So, whoops. Okay, now this outer circle I will blend in with the gray just to make it softer. I might have to do this several times depending on how many times I touch up the outer. I might have to add more blue, but not so sure yet. Okay, so now I'm going to make this outer ring a lot thicker. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to add more blue right here on the outer circle. To Kia, no, I actually don't find myself smudging the colored pencil often at all. Actually, I haven't seen it happen at all. I mean, my hand does smudge pencil, but that's just graphite pencil. The Prismacolors, however, I really don't see a smudge on, no matter how hard I push on the paper. That's one thing I really like about Prismacolors, is that they don't smudge as much. Whereas pencil, sometimes you have to keep a piece of paper underneath your hand to prevent your hand from smudging everything. That should be enough blue. Blend it. To Lily, I am in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of North Texas. Okay, the favorite part of the eye that I'm coloring is probably the part that I'm coloring right now, because this part really brings the eye to life. However, my favorite part altogether is whenever I add the reflections on the eye with acrylic paint, because that's the part where I think it makes the most impact on the realism of the eye. Now, if you were to look up images of eyes on the computer, you would find that all the up-close ones, there seems to be almost this space-like texture to the lines in the eye. Whenever I do this, I tend to draw the lines all like going towards and coming out from the center pupil. That's what helps me keep the texture of it. And right now I'm just drawing some of the various shapes that we find in the eye as an outline and some boundaries for some color, because I will be adding in like almost like a golden green color, because the eye isn't like the same color all around. Okay, the center eye of the eye right here where the pupil is, I'm going to be lightly etching some black colored pencil out from it to help blend it in with the surroundings. That's what I'm doing right now. This may take just a few seconds. Okay, and I'm going to come in with this golden color to color in some of the area around here, because that's where I see the goldish green in the photo that I'm looking at. If I haven't gotten to any of your guys' questions yet and you really want me to answer them, please ask them again, because I'm not able to see every comment since a lot of them move quickly off the screen for me. and I'm not able to catch everyone. Hold on, sorry, I have to get another color, sharpen this one. Okay. Alright, sorry about that. Back to Judy. How long can I color without my hand cramping? I've actually never experienced my hand cramping while coloring. It's really odd, but it's funny because I can write for a shorter amount of time and my hand will cramp after a while on that. Especially whenever I'm in my history class taking notes, because it's like just one page of notes after another, and that causes my hand to cramp. However, whenever I draw, I never find my hand to cramp. Okay, now, okay, wait, I need to get this other color. Whoops. Okay, another thing, if you guys get Prismacolor pencils, try really hard not to drop them because you could break the color inside of them, and that's no fun. To someone in the comments, I can't see the name because it fell off the screen, but what am I using to blend? I'm just using the colored pencils themselves to blend, just applying one color on top of the other and using circular motions or horizontal, vertical motions to blend it in. I do not use the blending tools as I do not have them, but seeing from the comments, apparently the Colorless Blender isn't that great of a thing, but that's okay because really, I don't think I'll need it. I think that just coloring like this is fine. Okay, now I'm going to come in with this white and put down some color so I don't make it too dark later and forget about it. Because that's one thing that's difficult about coloring the eye, is that you have so much going on at once, so many different colors and textures, lines and everything, that it can be easy to lose track of what's supposed to be what color. To Judy, do I ever do black and white? I've only really done graphite drawings, which I guess are black and white, or gray and white, I guess, but yeah, that's really the only time I do black and white drawings is in pencil. To Natosha, do I sell my art? I do, and if you're interested, please contact me through direct message on Instagram, and I will contact, oh, you'll contact me and I will discuss it with you. Some little center ring of white right here. To Sarah, about a reference photo, if you Google eye, or like just human eye on Google, I think you can find this image. I think it was one of the first images that I found whenever I did an image search for eyes earlier. However, right now I can't do that because I'm making this video for you guys, but maybe later I'll go in and post you a link to it if you can't find it. To Kimberly, what brand of markers do I prefer and why? I prefer Copic markers. They're alcohol based and they blend really well together. I really like them a lot. They're my favorite. I like them more than the Prismacolor pencils. However, they are quite expensive. So for getting started with markers, I would recommend only purchasing a few of them. Like, first of all, have an idea of what you're interested in drawing. Like, if you want to draw people, then draw colors that would color human skin. Buy those colors to start with and like get used to working with them. Don't just go buy a whole set right away, because you may realize that markers may not be your favorite medium. But yeah, I would only buy a few because they are expensive, but if you do end up liking them, they are great markers. And they're definitely worth the full price. You can find them at Hobby Lobby, Michaels, and Amazon. I think Amazon has the cheapest price for them though if you buy them in sets. They sell sets of 6, I think 12 maybe. They do 36 and 72 as well. To Courtney, yeah, I'm using a specific type of paper. This is tone gray paper. It's much different from regular white paper because this paper is toned, and whenever you use white colored pencils, it sits on top of it and it pops out, whereas white paper, you don't really get that effect. I personally prefer the tone gray paper in many circumstances due to the fact that it makes the colors pop so much more, in my opinion. But I do use white paper as well. I think it's just as good in many situations, but whenever I draw things like this, I prefer to use the toned gray. If you guys haven't tried toned gray paper yet, I highly recommend that you do so, because you'll be surprised at how cool this paper actually is. To Miranda, I suggested Copic markers earlier. To Haley, where do I get the tone gray paper? I bought this sketch pad of tone gray paper at Hobby Lobby. However, I'm sure you can get it at Michaels. I've seen it there before. And Amazon. I believe this particular brand is Strathmore, which also makes tons of variety of papers. I really like that company. I think that's where I get all my paper from, except for my sketchbooks. I don't know what brand my sketchbooks are. The top of the eye will be a bit darker since it will be sort of shadowed by the eyelid. That's why I'm putting a lot of the darker blue up top. Yellow. Okay, I know I said that this was going to be a bluish green, however, I see it's more blue right now, but that's okay. I'll try to add in more green, but I kind of like where it's going right now. However, I do think that some green would help blend together the yellow and the blue. Yeah, that's good. To Yanette, where did you learn to draw? I've learned to draw from practicing and just learning from resources I've gathered online and just looking at art. Again, practice, practice, practice. To Brittany in the comments, the 50% off or 40% off coupons for craft stores is probably like the greatest invention ever. Those coupons have saved me so much money over the years purchasing anything from markers, colored pencils, paints, paintbrushes, any kind of art supplies. So if any of you do go to Hobby Lobby or Michael's, always check their website for coupons and offers, things like that. You'll end up saving a lot of money if you do. Eraser, blend this. Okay, this right here is a gummy eraser. This kind is Prismacolor. In the past I've seen these erasers and whenever I use them with pencil they don't work that well, but my friend showed me that if you use them with colored pencils you can almost blend them together, which is kind of nice. I just wanted to do it right there on the eye because it seemed that the lines were getting kind of crazy. So did that. Do it right here too. I got some darker colors to the top of the eye to give it some more depth. Okay, now what I'm about to do is my absolute favorite part of coloring the eye, and I will be adding acrylic paint to give it some reflections. I just love this. It's so exciting. This acrylic paint is Fine Touch acrylic paint. It's one of the many acrylic paints I own. You don't really need to use acrylic paint like this one. I know this one is slightly more expensive than the cheapest acrylic paints, which are like 99 cents a bottle at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. I think I got this tube in particular at Hobby Lobby. It's just what I grabbed earlier, so I'll be using it. Okay, so start right here. This is so exciting. I love this part. Use a smaller brush. Sometimes whenever you're painting reflections or spots of white over Prismacolor, it may take a few layers because of the fact that the paint just needs to be thicker for it to block out the color beneath it, but after a few layers it should work. And one thing that's nice about the white not going to the brightest shade of white right away is that you can bring in a lot of different shades of white, you can have different intensities of reflections, and it can be very nice. Give the eye more depth that way. And I'll be adding a little bit of white right here just to add more to the eye. Alright, I'll let that dry before I add another layer of white to make it brighter. And in the meantime, I'm going to be coloring the upper and lower eyelids of this. Right now I'm going to clean up some of the pencil marks right here, such as the eyelash sketches, because those will get in the way. I think one of the most difficult parts of the eye to draw, it's the eyelashes. The eyelashes can be really tricky because you have to position your hand just right, and you have to make just the perfect little streak with your hand to make it go correctly, because you have to have this elegant shape that is thick at the base and is thinner at the top, and that's really hard to perfect most of the time. To Aster, yes, I have an Instagram. The link is in the description of the video, or if you don't want to leave the video, I believe some people have posted links. So right now I'm just going in with a base layer of pink, which I will shade. and up here as well. Okay, let me get my colors together. Excuse me while I sharpen my pencils. Okay, and I'm back. So right now I'm adding a little bit of a darker pink. This is kind of on the magenta side, so I'm not going to use too much of it because I'd rather go slightly red. Oh wait, I'll use this peach color instead. I think that this will be most fitted. Let me sharpen this one as well. I should have sharpened these ahead of time. But here we go. Yeah, this color is better. Let me wear down the tip so it doesn't get so long that it puts so much pressure on the color that it breaks. Unfortunately, that happens sometimes with Prismas, is that the tips break, and it's really unfortunate because it's like losing a piece of gold, because these pencils can be expensive. And the most frustrating thing is whenever your pencil sharpener is of poor quality, it just eats up the pencil. Nothing more frustrating than that. To Miss Christie, what colors am I layering the eyelids with? I'm using this blush pink, peach, I lost the other color. Oh, and I forgot which one of these reds, but it's either poppy red or crimson red. Okay. I'm most satisfied with this peach color though. I feel like this is doing the best job at shading. Hold on. I really need to sharpen this again. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is a better color. So, wait. Okay, and so whenever I shade it, it doesn't get brighter because I really don't want it to get that much brighter, the pink colors. I'm going to be coming in with the light umber color, which is just a brown, and this will help shade the color without making it too bright, like it would if I use magenta or red. However, I do want some red right here. Yeah, that's perfect. Here we go. Perfect. And blend that with gray. I think one of the, for some reason, the gray color seems to be really smooth, like super smooth. I mean, Prismacolors are already all smooth inherently, but I feel like there's something about the gray pencil that is just so much smoother than the others. I could be wrong, it could just be the circumstances I'm using the gray in, which is usually on top of white and other colors, but just whenever I use it, it seems to be really smooth, which is a good thing. Okay, back to this. Natasha, how to obtain the wet effect on the eye. I would use acrylic paint, because acrylic paint, just use acrylic paint to do like small little touches of white. As a matter of fact, there's a few areas where I need to come in and do that. But just the smallest little specks of white can really change the overall appearance of something. Like for example, if I add some white right here, it instantly makes it look much more shiny. And just add this everywhere until you're satisfied with it. The eye will look a lot more wet or shiny once I color over here and I finish up over here, but yeah, I would just recommend going in with white. Just little dots or marks like this. If you do it along the base where the eyelid actually touches the eyeball, it can really emphasize that effect. Yeah, if I missed your guys' questions or certain comments, please leave them again if you really need them answered, because I can't see all of them at once, and a lot of them fly off the screen before I'm able to answer them, unfortunately. Again, for you in the comments, if I'm missing a question that you need answered, please ask it again. Hopefully I'll see it again. It's really difficult to see all the questions at once since my screen can only display about 4 or 5 of them at once. So yeah, if I haven't answered, try to ask again. Okay. Right here, I want to make it a bit darker. I'm going to come in with the black, and I'll add some more red as well, but mostly I want to hit the top right here. Alright, right there. Come back in with the gray, as always. All right. And I'll be coloring right here now. Oops. Sometimes if you're, be careful if you're erasing pencil marks nearby other colors, because of the fact that sometimes your eraser can collect graphite on it, and that can blend in with the color, with the Prismacolor, since they blend so easily. And unfortunately that can sometimes ruin some of the color. Oops, let me move that back. Darker color. To Natasha, has there ever been a piece that you found yourself looking at later and being annoyed with in some way? Yeah, I experienced that a lot with a lot of my older works from whenever I was a lot younger, because I look at it with an older mind and I think, oh wow, there's so much that could have been better about it. But I know that I can learn from the past things. However, sometimes, unfortunately, like within a month, I may feel indifferent towards some of my pieces. But I think that that's just part of it. You learn more, you get more experience, you look back, and you don't like something as much. But sometimes that can keep me from finishing a piece for many, many days, or sometimes even a month. Just the fact that I keep looking at it and I don't really like it as much. So I kind of delay finishing it. To Roxanne, is that gold around the pupil? It's Spanish orange, which looks rather gold. To Michaela, what time is it there in your country? It is 10:20 and I will be drawing until 10:30. I'm 16 years old, I'm a senior in high school. for one of you in the comments. The name disappeared. Okay, any helpful hints to younger artists? I would recommend getting a sketchbook and practicing as much as you can. Draw things that you like. Think of the things that you want to see yourself drawing and just look at them and draw them. And if you want to draw human faces, practice a lot. Draw entire faces, entire portraits, but also finely tune your practice for drawing eyes and noses, lips, whatever it is that you need a lot of help working on. Like, zoom in on certain features of the face and practice just drawing those. And just study all the features in them, like every curve on the nose, every area where there's a shadow, just study it if you want to go realistic. But another thing to younger artists is don't always try to draw things super realistically, because it's just not for everyone. There's a lot of people that are much happier drawing things that aren't so realistic. And I get that. Don't worry if you can't draw things realistically, because sometimes some of the best artists don't draw things realistically. And with that, you can create your own unique style. And that's what's really cool about art, is that it doesn't have to be realistic. Okay, right now I am going to add the eyelashes, and I am kind of nervous about that because I'm recording this in this little box called a shot box, and my phone is on top of it, so I don't know if my arm can do the proper strokes to make the eyelashes, but we'll see. Okay, I'll start with the bottom because I'm most comfortable with the bottom. Eyelashes are the hardest thing for me to do. Because it requires quick movements of your hand, and you have to create this elegant little shape, and sometimes it can be a real pain. Okay, doing all right, I think. I don't know yet. I think that these are a little long, but one thing I like about painting, more compared to drawing, is that if you do mess up on something like this, you can just paint over it and try again. However, with colored pencils, I think they're a little more permanent, so it can be more difficult. The hardest eyelashes, I think, to draw are the ones that are directly facing the camera, because you can't just draw straight lines outwards. They have to have some kind of curve to them, and that can be really difficult. Okay. One thing, whenever you draw eyelashes, try to think of like the most narrow triangles in the world. That's almost what you want eyelashes to look like sometimes, where they're just slightly thicker at the base than they are at the tip. That's what I do to make them look the best. But I think I did okay with these eyelashes. There's one right here that kind of sticks out. I don't really like it as much, but oh well. Alright, and the upper eyelashes are the hardest in my opinion. It's really difficult to get right most of the time, but I will try. I feel like there's just so much that goes into drawing eyelashes beyond just a little stroke, because you have to get the right curve, the right amount of pressure, all of this. Okay, I don't think these are coming down far enough. I'm so nervous right now doing these eyelashes. Oh my gosh, I don't think I realized how difficult eyelashes are until this moment. I mean, I always knew that they were difficult, but like doing this in front of a bunch of people makes it so much more difficult, especially whenever I'm in this little box. But it's okay. Yikes. Okay, this little area right here is... Another tip for drawing eyes, if you have reflections on the eyes up here, it's a good idea to show the reflection of the eyelashes onto the eye sometimes. That can look really cool. I recommend doing that. I'm just moving my pencil so I can get my hand in here. I'm going to turn this. Let me sharpen this pencil. So doing eyelashes with a dull tip isn't the best. Okay, here we go. And like one thing drawing eyelashes is like I try to keep them all equally distributed from each other because like if they look too clumpy, it looks kind of funky. Oh my god, that rhymed. But anyways, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm freaking out over eyelashes, but okay. I think they're okay. Okay, I have to go in about 3 minutes. I'm almost done with this eye. I could color a little bit of skin around it just to give it some more context to like it being an eye. That's always fun to do. And plus it's really simple, just color a few more things. One thing I should do is look into a more efficient way of doing eyelashes, because whenever I go over this part of the eye right here, sometimes the black isn't as dark as it should be because of the fact that it's blending in with the gray beneath it. It'd be nice to do with paint, but sometimes like painting eyelashes can be really difficult because if the brush isn't narrow enough, they'll be really thick, and they'll be really thick at the tips, which like, doesn't look that good in my opinion. But yeah, I did it. The eyelashes. Okay. Okay, I'm pleased with these eyelashes. And the eyelashes, they don't just start like at the moment where the eyelash ends, they kind of go in it, so that's why I'm coloring a little bit above the eye just to kind of give the eyelashes a little bit more length. Turn it back now. Alright, I'm gonna add some more right here. And after I finish up these eyelashes, I'll be done for tonight. You can catch me again on Quirky Mama Drawing tomorrow morning at 11 if you'd like. I haven't decided on what I'll be drawing yet, but it'll be pretty fun. Okay. I'd like to color this, like the eyelid a little bit more. Okay. Okay. Sorry if I missed some comments or questions while I was doing the eyelashes. It was really important that I focus there. I'm glad that a lot of you in the comments say that you like the eyelashes. That makes me feel really good because these are really stressful to draw sometimes. Okay, it's 10:30 now. I'll have to get going, but thank you guys so much for watching. I'm glad you like the eye. I had a lot of fun drawing it. It's done right now. I think I'm deciding not to color the skin around it. Who knows, I might do it later, but thank you guys so much. Thank you for all the support and the lovely comments. I'll read them all later and I'll smile at them. Catch me tomorrow morning at 11 if you'd like, and bye. Oh, and remember to follow me on Instagram if you haven't. Bye.